not on your life. I'm not going to apologize for an unconstitutional and unthought out action by somebody who's been in the United States Senate for 60-some days. That's just inappropriate.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining us now on the Malzberg panel is Seton Motley, founder of Less Government, and Roger Hedgecock, host of the syndicated radio show, The Roger Hedgecock Show. Gentlemen, let me start with you, Roger. John Kerry, who said a lot of things over the weekend, to me, he was really showing disrespect for Senator Cotton, who is not only, he's of course a freshman senator, but he was a congressman, and before that he served proudly in our U.S. military. And I think that's something that really eats at John Kerry, because he never has had any use for anybody who serves proudly in our military.
Absolutely not. And John Kerry, who famously threw his fake medals over the White House fence in protest of the Vietnam War, and who got a Purple Heart for kinking his finger over there in the Mekong Delta, obviously is no one to be talking about Mr. Cotton, who served honorably in Iraq and Afghanistan in actual wartime and actually served and was proud of it. Cotton is a proud, patriotic American. Kerry is a sniveling wimp. And he's sniveling over the weekend. I just couldn't even stand it. And by the way, there's a boomlet going on to try to see if John Kerry might again pick up the mantle of leadership and be the Democratic nominee for president.
We can only hope. Seton, I got to tell you, I can't. I'm with Roger. I can't stand to watch the man because he doesn't represent anything about this country as far as I know it and love it. Yet there he is.
You know, I didn't watch every second of the hearing. Did any Republican ask him about his 1985 trip to Nicaragua to meet with the communist leader there? Did anybody ask him that?
Well, this wasn't the testimony we're talking about. He was on the Sunday shows, but no, nobody did ask him about that.
Well, that's my point. Okay, but he was in a hearing too, and nobody asked him there either. This is why the Republicans continue to not be able to get out of their own way. This is a perfect opportunity. I mean, look, Cotton's letter basically was to Iran was basically, we don't like you. Kerry and former Chuck Todd employer Tom Harkin and a bunch of other Democrats wrote a letter to Nicaragua and said, we like you. So that would be a delineation I would have made. Tom Cotton did not go and visit with them. He gave them a Civics Constitution 101 lesson versus Kerry, who, as we pointed out, he had one injury that was so bad if he turned his finger over, the shrapnel would have fallen out, and that was one of his Purple Hearts. And he met with Noriega in Nicaragua. He's as anti-American as you can get, and now he's the Secretary of State.
Right, and Roger, of course, he also said to high school students, if you work hard, you'll succeed. If you don't, you'll wind up in Iraq. He said that our troops in Iraq were terrorizing Iraqi women and children in the middle of the night, and we know what he said about his Vietnam colleagues after he left them with those 3 self-awarded Purple Hearts. But, I mean, something else he did now he says that the United States has to negotiate with Assad. Now, first we were going to bomb the hell out of him with that phony red line about a year ago, and now we're going to negotiate with them. Do they have a clue?
No, it's delusional foreign policy, because if you saw that statement, he says we've got to negotiate with Assad so that he would peacefully leave and solve the Syrian civil war. This is not a video game, Secretary Kerry. You're living in delusional land. Assad almost laughed. When he was asked about this, he almost laughed, because he is a puppet regime of the Iranian Empire, which is emerging in the Middle East now, and he is not going anywhere. He is going to faithfully serve his masters, the Ayatollahs, in Tehran, and Kerry knows it, or at least should know that, and he should know that that Assad is laughing because when Kerry goes on bended knee to try to get a piece of paper out of the Ayatollahs in which they're not going to promise to do anything, and Tom Cotton has properly called the bluff on that one, Assad has got to be laughing at Kerry's delusional aspect, and talking to John Kerry Assad will leave power. It's not likely to happen.
Yeah, not likely, Seton.
Well, look. If I'm picking the least of evils in that area of the world, Assad would be one of the top of the list. I mean, you have to negotiate with him. You're not going to convince him to leave power, but you certainly need to work with him versus the other evils that are going on in that part of the world.
No, but Seton, that's the whole point. If somebody is against the radical Islamists and the terrorists who are trying, then you got to get rid of them because you want the Brotherhood and all those Al-Qaeda's in. We're coming back. Don't go away. All right, we're back, folks, on the Malzberg panel with Seton Motley and Roger Hedgecock. And, gentlemen, the arrest of the 20-year-old as, let's see, I think Eric Holder called him a damn thug who shot the two cops in Ferguson. I never heard an alibi like this. I wasn't shooting at the cops. I was shooting at someone who robbed me hours earlier, who I know I can't describe him, which sounds pretty believable to me. But I am, well, not amazed, but upset, Roger, at the way the media has gone out of its way to go along with the protest organizers and try to make it crystal clear that this man, he wasn't a protester. Oh, no, he never protested. He's not one of us. When, in fact, he is one of them. Like the thugs who chanted, kill the cops in New York before they did kill the cops. They're one of them. They're all one of them. You can't separate the looters and the rioters from the ones who aren't.
Absolutely right. And this across the country, this is happening. In my own police force here in San Diego, lots of pressure on the really law and order police officers to become more of the instruments of the Obama state. That's what this is really all about, is to introduce diversity. That's what they call it. But what they're really introducing is their thugs into the local police departments, as opposed to they view, you know, the other thugs that used to be in there. And then they're going to give them these cameras. They're going to spy on our license plates. They're going to spy on our cell phone conversations. And I guess they're going to start smuggling across the border, because the latest news from the border right here at San Diego is an LA police officer had an illegal in his trunk trying to drive across from Tijuana. There you go.
Oh, my God. Seton?
Well, it's very hard to differentiate the thugs from the non-thugs if the mother of Michael Brown was cheering on Twitter the shooting of two cops. I mean, that's what it's, and unless I'm mistaken, the Obama administration sent 3 administration officials to Michael Brown's funeral. If that's not linking up with the thugs, I don't know what is.
Yeah, well, I'll never understand that. Although, I mean, I do understand it, but how you get away with doing that. It's kind of like Obama having to go on Jimmy Kimmel and Michelle having to go on Ellen DeGeneres, and they have to be there at the same time, and they take 2 separate jets from Washington to L.A., costing the taxpayers well over $1 million. Now, this is not the first time they've done this, Roger, and it's just in your face.
Well, of course it is, but Steve, she had to, get back to Washington. There's a lot of things on her mind and her agenda, and the president was going to make the long-delayed trip, through Phoenix, Arizona, to actually go to that VA facility, which still isn't treating our veterans in a very good way, and is still delaying their treatment. And he finally stopped in and said, hello, we're trying. And obviously, Michelle wanted no part of that. They live separate, in case you haven't noticed, they live separate lives. I mean, even on, Mother's Day and other kinds of days, they're in separate agendas, they're in separate planes. It's a wonder this time, however, the one thing they didn't do is they didn't bring their dog on a separate plane, which they did when they went to Johannesburg.
Unbelievable. And Seton, by the way, Seton, have you ever heard of Nowruz? Because Michelle Obama said that Nowruz reflects the diversity of culture and traditions that make us who we are as a country. She said Nowruz is one of those traditions. It's a Persian holiday celebrated in Iran, and she celebrated it at the White House.
Well, no, it's not. It's a Persian holiday, so it predates the Iranian mullahs, and it's celebrated in, I believe, 11 different Middle East countries, including, by the way, by the anti-ISIS Kurds in northern Iraq. So it's.
But how does it make us who we are? How is it our tradition?
No, it doesn't. No, there weren't a lot of Persians at the founding of this nation. No.
Just another blatant example, Roger. Just another blatant example.
No, that's right. And we've seen so many of these. He's got a longer message on the end of Ramadan than we've ever heard from Barack Obama on the occasion of Easter.
They're absolutely right, and they're hijacking the Easter egg roll again now. That's what she went on Ellen for, to talk about how it's going to be all about exercise and her plan. So it means nothing to them. Hey, great panel, guys. Seton Motley, Roger Hedgecock, thank you both very, very much, folks. When we come back, it's Gimme 5. Dana Milbank was on this show Friday, made some news, and we're going to go into what he had to say and how he's, as Ed Koch used to say, dead wrong. Don't go away.